Welcome to Today at Keeneland for Thursday, April 22nd. We are down to 2 days of racing remaining here for the spring meet in 2021. Gabby Gaudette, Scott Hazelton with you. Gabby, it truly has flown by. It always does when we get to these meets, and it's been a fantastic meet and great to be back here in April after having to miss it last year.
It has been, Scott. So much to reflect on, of course, even Essential Quality winning the Grade 2 Toyota Bluegrass, who's going to be the favorite for the Kentucky Derby, and even Malathot, who's going to be the favorite for the Kentucky Oaks as well. So many things to reflect on, so many exciting things as well, and kind of bittersweet that we only have 2 more racing cards left. 9
races today, 10 races tomorrow, so 19 races in total left here at Keeneland for 2021 spring. And before we get into today's card, let's go ahead and take a look back at yesterday. The theme early, at least, was the snow, and it was something that continued over the course of the afternoon. It wasn't exactly sticking, but there was constant snow flurries, it seemed, and we had no turf racing yesterday because of the snow that was on the turf course at the beginning of the day.
It was a very bizarre day in terms of the weather. It seemed like we had snow flurries, and then the sun would come out, and then it would be beautiful, and then snow flurries again. So all over the place in terms of the weather. We were off the turf and on the main track, but the main track dried out really quickly and really nicely. So we're back on the turf today, and it's warmer, and the sun is out.
Main track fast, turf listed as good. Those are the current conditions right now here at Keeneland Racecourse. Let's go to WKYT for the latest on this Thursday weather.
We're looking chilly again out there at Keeneland. At least we didn't start the morning off with some snow. We had to wait on that to melt by the time races were underway yesterday. Today, not quite as cold either. Still chilly with the temperatures finally getting into the 50s, but that's going to take all day. You start off for first post time in the 40s, and then we slowly climb up the thermometer out there with a little bit of a breeze blowing. But again, at least it is a much drier day as they hit the track. Good luck out there. Have a good one.
It's going to be warmer today and warmer tomorrow. And then on Monday, Gabby, for the April sale, temperatures expected to be in the 70s. So it's going to be tropical come Monday compared to what we've been experiencing over the last couple of days.
It's crazy. Then I brought all my winter gear back out, and then hopefully I can put it back in storage.
Not yet. Not Derby's next week. You know how Derby goes. You never know with Derby.
I will wait till after Derby.
Wait till after Derby. Let's take a look at our full card selections presented by TVG for this 9-race card. And we do agree in race number 2.
Race 2 and 6, and that's it. So we do agree on the number 1, Herbs Wench. In the second race, did I say the 6th race? I meant the 3rd race. Both agree on the number 6 in the 3rd race as well, the 6th Cartel Queen. And we also do agree in the 7th race. I know you had maybe a scratch in your top selection, so we both agree on the number 2 there. So that's a look at all 9 races and our opinions.
Download the Keeneland Race Day app. That's the best way to get these selections each and every day. It's available on your iPhone, your Android device, your tablet, your iPad. And also give us a follow on social media at Keeneland Racing, at Keeneland on Facebook, at Keeneland Racing on Twitter, at Keeneland on Instagram. Some beautiful photos there. And if you're not watching us on TVG2 and you want TVG2, download the Watch TVG app. I promise you're going to want to have the Watch TVG app on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV, because as we discussed yesterday, they've just rolled out this Road to the Derby feature where you can recap the key races and take a look at replays and analysis. So make sure you get it to get yourself ready for the first Saturday in May and the last Friday in April.
We got it right today.
Yeah, last Friday in April for the Kentucky Oaks.
But all the resources are there. It's a great thing to try to look for when you're doing your researching for the Oaks and Derby Day.
Yeah, Watch TVG. That's what you need to download on those devices. All right, today's featured event, it is race number 8. Of course, part of the late pick 4, part of the late pick 5. Scratch figure it out, but we have a field of 8 that comes together, I should say, with the scratch of the 9-horse. This is an allowance race, one of these craftily written allowance races that opens the door for a lot of these fillies and mares to get the opportunity. And one thing, too, about this race today, Gabby, there's a lot of crossover in form lines to this race here today, the feature, and tomorrow's graded stakes race, the Bewitch. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of common threads here. It's a mile and a half tomorrow, this a mile and a 16th. So these fillies and mares had some options here today in order to come with it. or the next 2 days to come with a mile and 16th or a mile and a half race. But I went to the number 5 horse, Summer in Saratoga, for Joe Sharp. He's just got her going good right now. We'll go back to the Tom Benson Memorial Stakes at Fairgrounds at the end of March, and she came from off the pace and won the same way that she did at Kentucky Downs back in September. So we roll back this race. This is another situation where in the Tom Benson, she beats a filly by the name of Dominga, who's trained by Brad Cox. She'll be running in the Bewitch tomorrow as well. So you've got to respect this form. She's won 3 of her last 4. She did lose in an allowance race back here in July, but she didn't run bad. She encountered some traffic, but she's just a straightforward closer. That's what she is. And Corey Lannery gets the opportunity to ride here today. She gets just up in time to get the victory. So Summer in Saratoga and her recent form, I think, has to be ultra respected here today in the featured event. Stunning Sky on the rail. She comes out of tough races. She won the Valley View in October of last year here at Keeneland. That's a grade 3 event, beating some nice runners. She was with Micheline and eventual grade 1 winner Harvey's Little Goyle in the Dueling Ground Oaks at Kentucky Downs last September. So she is certainly got to be considered live. And then the 8-horse Winter Sunset for Wayne Catalano. She's got a wonderful pedigree from that Phillips family, daughter of Winter Memories. That's the first dam. She's a daughter of Tappet, who we've seen flashes of brilliance from her. But I think that she's needed her last couple, and I think that she will come with it today. I remember back to October talking to Wayne Catalano about her at Keeneland, and he said, yeah, she's doing all right, but she might need one. I think that she'll come on from her last couple of races, and she encountered some trouble in the Tom Benson Memorial as well. So I'll go in this 8th race, 5, 1, and 8 in the feature. You
definitely won't miss Winter Sunset.
Nope.
She's probably going to be the brightest horse in the field, as she is a very, very sparkling gray type of mare. The 5 Summer in Saratoga, I do think she's the horse to beat, but the curious horse to me in here is the number 4, Daddy is a Legend. What do you do with her? Because her back form is so good. She is such a classy mare, and we'll take you back to one of those grade 1 efforts. This was at Del Mar in the grade 1 matriarch. Now, I know it was a while ago. It was December of 2019, and that was when she was really in the form of her life. She even managed to finish 3rd against the legs of Rushing Fall in the grade 1 Just a Game at Belmont. She has multiple grade 1 place. She's a graded stakes winner. She's earned figures of over 102 Beyer earned earnings of over $540,000. She's just a very classy mare. And I remember them bringing her back last year, Scott, and she was extremely disappointing. I'm surprised to see her back in this race because I just thought that given all that she's accomplished, they would probably just retire her, but she's back. And that just tells me that she's showing them something in the morning that maybe she didn't show them last year, but she showed them a couple years ago. So they're taking a shot with bringing this mare back once again. So I'll take a shot with her because if she is able to deliver her B effort, I think it could win here. So Daddy is a Legend will be the top pick, but if she isn't ready off the layoff, the 5 Summer in Saratoga, I agree with you, Scott. You have to respect her. She did have some trouble in her last race, but it's kind of like the lesser of 2 evils. I thought Irad Ortiz Jr. did a phenomenal job saving ground the entire way from post number 12 of 12. And then he did have a little bit of traffic trouble, but that's what you get when you get a turf closer. So she's been a filly in good form. And then outside of that, I will use the 1 Stunning Sky. The key to her is finding the right field. If the main contenders in here don't show up, she can win. She's just kind of on the cusp of being very good. I don't know if she's going to be good enough to win this race, but she's consistent enough to use in the top 3.
Those are our thoughts. Let's check in with Tom Leach for more on this 8th and featured event.
Corey Lannery rides Summer in Saratoga in the allowance feature on the card for Thursday. Tell me about what the key is to get the best out of her, to get her best run.
Well, she's just a good filly. I've been real lucky on her. I've won 2-3 races on her. We seem to get along. If I can get a good trip, I'm sure Joe's got her ready. She won a stake last time at the fairgrounds, so she's coming in good form. So, just hope to work out her trip.
She's been having a nice run here. It goes back a ways, even like the last February, 4 out of 5. You rode her earlier in her career. You noticed anything that really improved about her?
When I rode her first time here, it was a really, really good race. I was stuck behind and got out at the last minute and really thought I blew the chances of winning. And she came firing home and actually won it pretty easy at the end. So, and then since then, she's done nothing wrong, but get a little better. So, No, I just think she's in good form, and we try to get her a good trip.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
She does seem like a fairly straightforward filly, just getting that, finding that path, get her out in the clear and let her ramble home. So we'll see if Summer and Saratoga can do it in race number 8 with Corey Lannery aboard later on this afternoon. It's time now for our key races of the day, and I'm going to start with race number 6, a 2 other than allowance race on the turf course at 1 1/16. 13 through 16 are out, but it's a big field of 12. And I'll go to the middle of the field in here. How ironic, the number 5 horse as my top selection for Vicky Oliver, G. Watts Humphrey Jr., a homebred for G. Watts Humphrey Jr., daughter of Tonalist, who comes off of a 8th place finish to Michelin in the Grade 2 Hillsborough at Tampa Bay. This is class relief. We talk about class relief all the time. This is the first time that she's run against Allowance Company since she cleared the A other than allowance condition back at Ellis Park in August of 2020, an afternoon in which you and I had the pleasure of being out there. And then they tried her against Stakes Company, Michelin, Stunning Sky, Princess Grace, Michelin again in the Hillsborough. So she gets a lot easier spot here today to deal with this group here this afternoon. And we'll take you back to her race in October when she ran in the Valley View. She was a big price this day. She was 29-1. She was well out of it as they turned for home, but she comes close to winning this thing. She only ends up beating a length in the end. She finishes 3rd with Bejarano in the saddle, who has ridden her in her last 5 starts. So she gets the split there, and she's able to get up for 3rd and just keeps on coming. So this filly showing up here today in the 2 other than allowance race, I think is a big plus for her. The distance shouldn't be an issue with her running style. So how ironic the Tonalist filly is my top selection. Then I'll go to the outside, the number 12 horse, Wittez for Ian Wilkes. I think she'll sit closer. That's the key for her, to sit close to the pace in here. She's tried great at Stakes Company. They dropped her in class last time out. It was a tough race at Gulfstream, which was won by Toffin. But that was a mile. I think that the added distance is a plus for her as far as the pace scenario is concerned. Should be able to sit a little bit closer with that. And then Family Way, the number 2 horse, the import for Hunter Valley Farm and Deborah O'Connor. This is a Uncle Mo filly that they purchased over in Europe, and she's yet to come here to the States. In fact, she comes off of a victory in France. So this is her stateside debut. Lasix for the first time. Gaffalione takes the call. I think that you got to respect her. So 5, 12, and 2 in race number 6.
I'm going to stay with the 6th race, 1 3/16 on the turf, as you mentioned. And you did touch on one filly, and that's the 12, Wittez. She's going to be my top selection in here, Scott, for trainer Ian Wilkes. And we'll show you her last race, the race you alluded to down at Gulfstream Park. This was going the mile. Unfortunately, you can see the one Toffin. She's 5-1. She's out on the front end. And Wittez, she's just trying so hard to make up ground, and it's really hard for her. She's the number 2 horse making a rally towards the outside. Toffin went gate to wire in here. She managed, and the fractions weren't slow, but they weren't ultra fast for Gulfstream Park turf course. So she ran on late. I thought it was a good performance. I'm not convinced that she's best at a mile. And the key to this, and you touched on it, Scott, is that at this distance and an overall lack of speed, she will not have to close. I think she will be more forwardly placed, and that should help Julian be able to get into position with that outside draw. Where the race starts at 1 3/16 on the turf, you have the entire stretch to try to save ground going into the first turn. So the outside draw isn't too bad, especially considering the fact that she will be forwardly placed. So she is the top play for me in there. I'll also use the number 6, Valletta, who's coming into the race on a 3-race win streak for trainer Danny Gargan. It still is a little bit of a class test for her. This is by far the toughest field that she's ever faced in her career, but she's riding that momentum into today. And then the 5, How Ironic. I agree. She is getting a class relief. She just has absolutely no speed, and I don't see any speed in here. If we're talking about a horse that closed to run well at a mile, maybe being on the lead in this race, that's her biggest obstacle in here, is just the lack of overall pace, Scott.
That race 6 does start the late pick 4. We'll dive into that in just a bit, but I'm going to back it up one race to race number 5 for my next key race analysis. And this race, keep in mind, does start the late pick 4. No scratches in here, a full field of 8, and a 6-5 morning line favorite with Zanesville, who is getting Rafael Bejarano here today for George Leonard III. This is the gelding that I go to. He has won here on the meet. He is in top form right now. I mean, you can't find a bad race in his last 10. That's the past performances got in front of me. This will be his 34th start. He's won 10 races in his career. We'll take you back to April 10th, just a few days back, when he was able to pull off this victory in the slop, coming from off the pace, which, again, is something that is not easy to do. So he's just a war horse type of 6-year-old at this point in time, and Rafael Bejarano got to know him here on this afternoon, and the fact that George Leonard III is bringing him back quickly is a positive for me, and why wouldn't you? When you've got this kind of form and you've got a field that really isn't all that tough, you take the swing here. So I'm going to roll with Zanesville on top, and then the number 1 horse, Till Then for Larry Smith, coming in from Mahoning Valley with Chris Landeros, I think can sit forward in this race. And then the number 6 horse, Valley Cove for Eric Reed. First off the claim, this barn is very good first off the claim. They don't claim a lot of horses, but a quarter of the time, 25% winners first off the claim for trainer Eric Reed. Gerardo Corrales is starting to heat up a bit here in the final days at Keeneland, getting to the winner's circle just yesterday. But you got to respect this barn, but you got to respect Zanesville and the form that he's in, because he always shows up. And that's all you can ask for in this sport, Gabby, is showing up and putting in a good effort. And he's a horse that does it time and time and time again.
He does try each and every time, something to be respected. The 7th race, I'll move along a couple races down the card. 6.5 furlongs on the main track, maiden special weight here. And we do have a couple of scratches, especially the 4 Goodnight Olive, who figured to be the favorite in here. So unfortunately, the 2 Stand By You, my top pick, those odds are going to come down, because there's really nowhere else to go unless you go with a first-time starter. You would think that Chad's horse, who's a scratch, would take the lion's share of the money, but now with her out, I think it will go to the number 2, Stand By You, this 3-year-old filly by money. And everything about her in her first race screamed that she was live. She was bet, she was coming in for top Beatty, and she also got Joel Rosario, which is never a bad thing. You could tell by that virtue alone that she was live. Unfortunately, things did not go her way this day. We'll take you back to her last race, and that was right here at Keeneland on the 2nd of April. Show you the gate break. She's right there. Ooh, she gets just annihilated coming out of the gate, unfortunately. So knocked off stride, and then here, once again, the 3 comes over in front of her, and she has to steady again, just tossing her poor head up in the air. So unfortunately, this was her first race. It wasn't a great experience coming out of the gate, but this is what you love to see in a racehorse, Scott. She never gave up. Again, this is her first career race, and she's down inside of horses after that troubled beginning, and she's trying to find a way to maneuver in and out of horses, and in the end, she winds up finishing 3rd, just being a little over a length, and that was not a bad field either. So she, I thought, showed so much courage in that performance, overcoming the poor beginning, being in and outside of horses, coming up the rail, and just losing by a little over a length. So because the fact that she was bet in her first race, because of that troubled start, I think she's going to be a heavy favorite in this race. Alternatives, the 9, Honorably, she'll probably be the speed. Second-time starter for Brendan Walsh, gets blinkers on. She, too, was bet in her first race at Gulfstream. And then the 5, Rules for Us, picks up Louis Saez, your leading rider, first-time starter for Dallas Stewart, a daughter of Constitution out of an exchange rate mare. So those are the top 3, but really leaning on my top selection and Stand By You.
To take basically a check. I mean, that's like being checked in hockey. To take the check that she did, sideswiped, and for her to run on like that, I mean, that is impressive stuff, especially for a first-time starter. That might have been the backtrack of the meet that you've come up with, a video replay of the meet, honestly, that you've come up with there with her in race number 7.
Took me long enough, but we got it in before the end.
Let's go to the Clocker report for this 9-race card, and we'll start early with race number 2, Vamba, for trainer Chris Davis and Town & Country Racing is the first focus of the Clocker report. Sharp local Work Series drop in competition and should have her own way in the 6-furlong sprint, showing up for $20,000 today. And then 1 race later, the 3 Cartel Queen, the number 6 horse for Tom Amos, Colby Hernandez, 2-1 on the morning line, worked in 46-2. That was the best of 114 just 12 days ago. So has looked sharp in both Keeneland gate drills, holding her own against an older horse in that workout, which is important as she is a 2-year-old filly. So the 4 in race number 2 and the 6, correct? Yes, 6 in race number 3. Just want to make sure I had that correct. Let's go ahead to the late pick 4, Gabby Gaudet.
Okay, I thought I couldn't find a single in the sequence today. I thought it was kind of difficult to lean on one horse in particular. Or our singles, we've been agreeing on singles, and they have not been winning, Scott.
That was not good yesterday.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little scared as well. But this ticket's $30. Spreading in the first race, race 6, 2, 5, 6, 9, and 12. I thought that was just a tricky race. The 12 with Tez is my top selection, but we didn't really talk about the 2 Family Way, that stateside debuter for Brendan Walsh. I also wanted to include her in the mix. The 7th race, just using 2 horses, backtrack that we showed you just a minute ago with the 2 Stand By You, and also the 9 Honorably. I mentioned she should be able to show speed today for Brendan Walsh. And then the 8th race, the 1, 4, 5, I do prefer the number 4, Daddy is a Legend, but also using the 5 Summer in Saratoga and the 1 Stunning Sky. And then we get to the final leg of the sequence, the 2 Lady Frosted, clash dropper for Tommy Drury, and then the 6 Coal Shaft, who is a clash dropper for Danny Gargan, who has the most speed, could be the controller in that last race. $30 play.
I don't see a single today in any of these sequences, to be honest with you. Late sequences, rather, the late pick 5 or late pick 4. So 3 deep in race number 6, the 2, 5, and 12, my top 3 selections in that tough allowance race. As far as race number 7 is concerned, same situation there. Just going to use my top 3 selections in that 3-year-old filly race. The 2, 9, and 10. We'll come back to that race in just a bit. The 8th race, going 2 deep in the featured race, Stunning Sky, and the number 5 horse, Summer in Saratoga. I'm not. Maybe I'm snake bit by the performance that we saw firsthand. I think that happens a lot to us because we were there when she was the heavy favorite at Ellis Park, and she just did not run well at all. And she didn't run well in her next start, but she was running against light years better horses, especially in her last race, like Beau Recall and Newspaper of Record. So that's why I'm leaving Daddy is a Legend off the ticket, off this 7-month layoff. And then in the final race, Maiden 50, the 2, 3, and 9 Drury's horse, the 2, the 3-horse Village Queen for Tim Ham dropping in class, and then Coal Shafts for Danny Gargan, Danny's not run a lot of horses, but if there's one barn that's due a win, it's probably Danny Gargan because he sent out some live runners and just has yet to find the winner's circle. So maybe it comes in the 9th with Coal Shaft, the number 6. So $27 investment. That's the ticket, late pick 4. As we move on to our best angles of the day, and you'll stay in this 9th race, the Maiden 50.
Because I did think that it was a key race within the late pick 4 sequence, as Coal Shaft is your 5-2 favorite. And I want to touch on what you just brought up, Scott. We've seen Danny Gargan, one of his best attributes as a trainer is knowing where to place horses. He's super aggressive with his horses, and he wins at a high percentage. And he has been doing that so far at the meet. He's been aggressively placing his horses. They look like they're pretty much layovers in the fields that they're in. And they've been running well, but they've been losing at short prices. But today, I am confident that we're going to get Danny in the winner's circle with this horse, because not only is she a class dropper, but she's also the pace of the race. I'll show you her race 2 starts back at Aqueduct. This was against Maiden Special Weight Company at Aqueduct, but in February, excuse me. She does have a tendency to go in and out of form. Her first race was on the turf. She didn't run well. Her third race was on the dirt, a muddy sealed track. She did not run well. But this race is a race in which she will, if she can perform like this today, she'll win this race today. She was very unfortunate to lose by just a head here, just trying to grind out this victory. But you can see the inside horse just does hang on. It was a close finish in the end, though. I just think Tyler Gaffleone's got to be aggressive with this filly. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of early speed, so just go. And we always see that's kind of one of the best angles in racing. Clash dropper with speed, they're very hard to catch. So I'm going to key her in exacta over the 2, 5, 8, and 10 for a cheap ticket. You can obviously play it for $1. You can play it for $2, whatever you may feel.
I'm going to go back to race number 7. Now, the original thought was to ice cold and exacta the 4 over your 2-horse Stand By You, but the 4 Goodnight Olive is a scratch. So having to readjust here in this maiden special weight event, which is part of the late pick 5, late pick 4. In fact, starts the late pick 3 today. So Stand By You for Tommytown Thoroughbreds will be the favorite. If she breaks better, she's going to run a big one, Daughter of Munnings. So her on top in an ice cold exacta with the number 9 horse Honorably for Brendan Walsh. She adds blinkers with her. These 2 fillies could just lead him around there if the 2 breaks better and honorably has already broken Sharp in one start. They add blinkers today. I think that she'll build off of that. She was bet on debut for Brendan Walsh. Brian Hernandez gets the opportunity today. It's a daughter of Honor Code. So I'll go 2/9, just a $10 straight exacta. We get it right. It's going to be a solid payoff, even if it is the favorite, because we're just going, 1/1 horse. So we're not trying to box these and hoping that we can catch a price, because I don't think it's going to happen in race number 7. Time now for Tom Leach's long shot pick of the day, and he's going to start in the opener. We start today's card with a 2-year-old filly race on the grass course. We have a 2-year-old filly race today. We have a 2-year-old colt race tomorrow on the grass on closing day, and he likes the number 6 horse, Promptly Done, for Brett Calhoun, daughter of Shanghai Bobby, for longtime client of Brett Calhoun, Tom Durant, who bred this filly as well. Sire was a 2-year-old champion, Shanghai Bobby, and nice sub 47 gate work here 2 weeks ago. That was on the 7th of April, worked in 46-4. That was second best of 35. So there's no turf pedigree on the dam side as far as runners, but she's only had one other runner, Sandora, daughter of Reddy's Image, but solid pedigree by Shanghai Bobby. So Promptly Done, his long shot play at 12-1, where Rithen is going to be the heavy favorite in there.
There are some tough Wesley horses to try to beat, and not only today, but also tomorrow on those 2-year-old races. The maiden special weight races here, I don't care if they're 2-year-old races or 3-year-old races, they're tough, especially the closing 2 days of the meet.
Looking forward to it. 9 races ahead of us. For Gabby, I'm Scott, and everybody here today at Keeneland. Enjoy the second to last day of racing at Keeneland Racecourse. Post time for the opener just past 1 o'clock.
The excitement of Kentucky Derby Week and the return of the Keeneland April Horses of Racing Age Sale. Backed by a history of success, the 2021 April sale introduces a new integrated format featuring an enhanced all-digital catalog and the option to buy horses on site in the Keeneland sales ring or remote from anywhere in the world. The April Horses of Racing Age Sale, Monday, April 26th.
When it comes to hybrid technology, nobody has more hybrid models than Toyota. From the Prius, the hybrid that started it all, to America's best-selling car, Camry, and best-selling SUV, RAV4, to the first-ever Corolla hybrid, the new best-in-class Highlander hybrid, and now the first-ever Sienna hybrid minivan, and Venza, the first exclusively all-wheel drive hybrid. They all come with a new 10-year, 150,000-mile battery warranty. Nobody knows hybrids like Toyota. Let's go places.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keeneland Racecourse. At this time, we ask that you would please rise in tribute to our national anthem. Keeneland is proud to recognize Leighton Sharp from Dining as the Employee of the Day. Congratulations, Leighton.
In the event of an emergency, Keeneland is dedicated to ensuring the safety of our patrons. This video illustrates the proper evacuation protocol from all locations in the Keeneland Grandstand facility. Depending on the nature of the emergency, directions may be altered. Please remain calm and follow the direction of guest services and security personnel. Patrons should never use elevators during an evacuation. Patrons in the corporate boxes, Eclipse Room, and Phoenix Room should exit using the stairway located near Elevator A. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and veer right to exit through the lower club entrance. Patrons in the Lafayette Room, Keeneland Room, Lexington Room, and Kentucky Room should exit using the stairway located near Elevator B. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the paddock area using the East Gate. Patrons in the third floor main clubhouse and clubhouse paddock dining rooms should exit using the stairway located near Elevator A. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and veer right to exit through the lower club entrance. Patrons in the Bluegrass Room and third floor ITW area should exit using the stairway located near Elevator B. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the paddock area using the East Gate. Patrons in the Finish Line Room and Green Room should exit using the stairway leading to the North Terrace. Proceed down the stairs to the second level and through the doors outside. Proceed down the stairs to the ground level and exit through the North Gate. Patrons in the outside reserved grandstand seats and boxes should proceed down the nearest stairway to the ground level. Proceed under the grandstand towards the paddock area and exit via the nearest point of exit, the South Gate or the East Gate. Patrons in the second floor main clubhouse dining room and life members room should exit using the stairway on the south side of the administrative offices. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the South Gate. Patrons in the second floor clubhouse paddock dining room and clubhouse tavern should exit using the stairway located near Elevator A. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and veer right to exit through the lower club entrance. Patrons in the mezzanine bar and second floor ITW area should exit using the stairway located near Elevator B. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the paddock area using the East Gate. Patrons in the sports bar and cantina should exit through the doors leading to the North Terrace. Proceed down the stairs to the ground level and exit through the North Gate. Patrons in the lower club, clubhouse lawn, club lobby, and director's room should proceed toward the clubhouse parking lot using the nearest point of exit. Patrons in the gift shop should proceed toward the South Gate using the nearest point of exit. Patrons in the apron area should proceed under the grandstand towards the paddock area and exit via the nearest point of exit, the South Gate or the East Gate. Patrons in the equestrian room and first floor Brats and Brew should proceed towards the North Terrace and exit through the North Gate. Patrons in the paddock area and North Terrace should proceed toward the nearest point of exit, the South Gate, East Gate, or North Gate. After evacuating the facility, please remain calm and follow the direction of guest services and security personnel in the safest route to return to your vehicle. Thank you for your attention and cooperation.
They are at the post. And they're off. There goes Winners Club from the outside. Winners Club out for the lead. Yamato comes away with that one, a close second in the opening strides as they move around the far turn. High Tide toward the far outside is in third. And then Tallest of the Tall fourth, and Job Security right alongside of that one. But Winners Club is the leader, and Winners Club has gotten over next to the rail and leads it by only a half length. Yamato is second by a length as they move toward the top of the stretch, with High Tide staying toward the outside in third position. Job Security a couple of lanes off the rail in fourth, and Tallest of the Tall is last of the five. The opening quarter went in 25.11 seconds. Still just over a lap to go. Winners Club is the leader.